Hey guys, before I start this video, I just want to give you a heads up that I didn't really pre-plan it. I didn't write anything down, so bear with me if it's a little choppy. Um, but I always think it's best just to speak straight from the heart with things like this. So I'm just going to start it by saying that. I'm also going to start by introducing myself in the hopes that this video does get shared past my own social media platform. So my name is Lindsay Grassis, and I'm 30 years old. I live in central Massachusetts, and I own my own CrossFit gym. I'm a CrossFit athlete, and I'm also a firefighter. And what I'm looking to do today is raise awareness for sexual assault, as it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, as well as my own anniversary of when I was raped today 9 years ago. So I always made a promise to myself that every year today I would speak about it on all my social media platforms, because I do find year after year that it does end up helping other people. So if I need to be that voice, like, I will so happily be that voice, and it is my own form of therapy as well. So I kind of consider it a win-win, so to speak. Additionally, for this video, I'm hoping to do something a little bit more this year, and I'm hoping to raise money for a nonprofit that helps support survivors and their families as well. And I'll go into detail with that at the end. But first, I always start by sharing my story. And I don't think it's fair to ask others to step forward and share their story if I don't do so myself. So I'll start by sharing a piece of myself and what happened to me 9 years ago today. So although I do own a CrossFit gym and I'm big into CrossFit, I did go to school for chemical engineering. And when I was in college, my junior year, when I was 21, they had a study abroad program where you could study pretty much all over the world. So me and a group of my friends ended up going to Puerto Rico, which is where we were for a couple months studying coral reefs, which is outside of engineering, but it was a really cool experience. While we were there, one night, I was brought back to the hotel we were staying at. I was by myself at the time, and I entered the hotel, and the security guard that I'd seen quite a few times before was there in the lobby. And I don't always believe it's best to go into details, but long story short, he had entered the elevator with me and got me to the rooftop of the hotel, about 30 floors high. This is an unarmed security guard, and I was still a very small 100-pound girl at this time, battling an eating disorder. So, I mean, you do the math. And so he ended up essentially dangling half of my body over the 30 floors, and told me that if I were to scream, he would kill me. And it was there that I was raped. And to explain, like, I did fight it in court, which I'll go over a little bit, and try to explain why you didn't scream and fight him off and all of these things. It's really hard to explain. All I remember is going absolutely numb. And long story short, I did end up getting away and made it back to my hotel room, and my roommate was there. I told her what happened. I'm really grateful that she never let me shower and called our teacher, who called 911. I was brought to the hospital immediately. I was given a rape kit, so they had all of his DNA. He was arrested on the spot. And I did press charges, and I did fight it in court. And it took nearly 2 years of my life flying back and forth to Puerto Rico to get this man behind bars, which I'm so thankful to say that I got the justice I deserved. But so many people out there will not. And so many people won't even fight it in court. And it's really sad to say that I don't necessarily blame them at all for not doing that. Court is something that I would not wish upon my biggest enemy when you're trying to put a rapist away, because the odds are automatically not in your favor. I had a rape kit. I had security footage of him dragging me down the stairs by the wrist afterwards. I have footage on that security camera of me looking at directly into the security camera, mouthing the words "help me," and my lawyer told me that the odds were very low that he would be proven guilty still with all of that evidence. And it's absolutely heart-wrenching that that's how the justice system works. It's absolutely crazy. And they do everything in their power to make you stand down. Like, for example, they would constantly I would fly there. I missed a bunch of my senior year of college, including my senior year of soccer, which is something that I really loved at the time. And you'd fly there, you'd have court for a few days. They'd come up with some reason why they needed to pause court. They'd send me back home a couple days later, fly me back, fly me home, fly me back. It was just absolutely constant to get me to just drop the charges. And like, I remember the defense attorney, he would ask me to stand up against the railing in the court and demonstrate exactly how I was being held and how I feared for my life. And I tried to demo this in front of a bunch of strangers. Granted, I'm in a foreign place. The words are being translated to me because it's all being spoken in Spanish. I have no one in the courtroom that I know because I didn't want my parents to come in. They just sat in the hallway because I didn't want them to listen to what had happened to me. And I remember when I had to demo this, I absolutely lost it, and I collapsed to the ground sobbing. And I just remember distinctly the defense attorney coming directly over me, looking down on me, saying, "You really need to do that again. It wasn't for long enough." And the jury couldn't get an accurate picture of what actually happened, so you need to get up and do it again. Like, it's cold and it's heartless, and you're treated like you're the criminal. And I wasn't allowed to have my cell phone. I was shut in like a tiny room when I wasn't on the stand. It's honestly terrible what you have to go through. But I don't want that to come across to anyone that you shouldn't fight your case. Because it helped so much to know that I wasn't crazy and it wasn't my fault, and this man had done something terribly wrong because he was voted unanimously guilty, and he's away for a very, very long time. And it's hard to put yourself in that spot to fight it when the odds are so low. But that being said, I think it really encourages people not to speak out about what has happened to them because there's a stigma that it's somehow your fault. And even in my case, like I said, like, there was some nasty stuff on film, and it was clearly evident what had happened. And they would still, they still ask the typical questions you read about. They would say, why were you wearing such a short dress? Like, what? There's no need to go into details. It's just absolutely crazy, and it's so unspoken about. I feel like because everyone knows how wrong it is, and I think it's something that we do need to speak out about, and we do need to talk about. And that's a part of why I do this every year, because I mostly want those who have survived sexual assault to know that you're absolutely not in the wrong, and you're not broken just because this happened to you. I think about it in the sense of, so say when you're younger, and you get this nasty scar, right? Later on in life, when someone asks you about that scar, you get to tell this really cool story that you were on your bike, you got hit by a car, all the bones in your arm were completely shattered. The doctor told you you would never be able to use your arm again, it wouldn't heal properly, all these things. And then down the road, you're using your arm again fine, and you're back better than ever before. I'd like to think about sexual assault in the same way. It's not anything cool that happened to you. It's actually really, really world-shattering, but it's something that you can get to the other side of. And I like to think of it now as that happening to make me the person that I am today. And it's given me a way to help others, which is something that I really enjoy doing. And I don't know, I guess that's how I wish people would look at it, rather than not wanting to speak up about what had happened to them because of what others might think. Because there's this unspoken voodoo that if you're a sexual assault victim, which I hate that word, you're damaged goods. And it's almost like people are like, oh, like that's that girl that was raped, and that's really sad. That's kind of the stigma around it, and I've always wanted that to change. I don't consider myself damaged goods. I consider myself, a really good person, and what happened to me, but it doesn't make me any less human, you know? And why I come on here and share, I guess what inspired me to do that is, so the shirt, I got Take Back the Night. My college set up this event my senior year, so this is about a year after it had happened, maybe a little bit less than that. And it was about sexual assault awareness, and a bunch of speakers came on to talk about it, and what to do with someone you loved, like this happened to them, so on and so forth. And they brought me on as a guest speaker. And at this point, it was still very raw, and I had never really spoken out about it in public. I'd never really shared the full-on story of what happened. And so I remember when I got up there, I had a piece of paper, and I ended up pretty much ripping it apart and speaking directly from the heart. And when I had finished, it was like a huge weight off my shoulder. It just felt like something I was keeping, deep inside. And to get that out was really liberating for me. And not only that, I had been the only guest speaker on that was on schedule. And when I finished, it was going to be the end of the event, and they opened up the mic to anyone else who felt as though they wanted to come up and share their story. And I remember there were, I'd say 5 to 7. At this point, I was like in hysterics because my brothers were there, my sorority sisters were there, like everyone was there, everyone was in tears. It was a very emotional day. That there were at least 5 to 7 people that ended up going up after me and sharing their story. And that I think that's really why I do what I do every year, and I come up and talk about it. And now that I have a following on social media, granted it's not for the same reason, it's for CrossFit mostly, but I'd like to use my platform for good as well, not just CrossFit related stuff. So that's why I'd like to share it there as well, because if I have 42,000 people following what I do, the odds that I would go to say thousands of followers that have been through some sort of rape or sexual assault, whether it be in my case where it's a little bit different, where I don't know how I want to word this properly, but the majority of rapes and sexual assaults happen with someone that you're really close to, what they call date rape. And I'm sure there are thousands and thousands of people, even just as my followers, who have been through something that they either have never talked about or just buried down deep inside. And to hold that inside, it is such a heavy weight that you might not even know that you're carrying. So where do I want to take this from here? I guess I can kind of wrap it up there. So what I'm hoping to do, so I made some shirts and some sweatshirts and some tank tops in hopes to raise money for a nonprofit for sexual assault survivors and their families. And I want to donate all of the proceeds to charity. My goal is to sell 500, which would be $10,000. So even if you don't have anything to contribute, if you could at least maybe share this to your story or share it to friends or anything like that, I would really appreciate it. And I hope that this video helped raise some sort of awareness in your day. I hope if you've been through something like this, that you can know that it's not your fault. It's not your fault, and whatever your head is telling you, like, it's a lie. I promise that it's a lie, and that you're not going to be looked at as damaged goods, and that the people who love you the most, like, I'm assuming that they will do anything for you, and I encourage that you speak up, and if you need help, that you ask for help. And it doesn't make you weak if you ask for help. I didn't ask for help for a long time. Back when I was in college, and even the few years after college, like, I was in a very, 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 very dark place. And I also struggled with a really bad eating disorder, one that had landed me in a 3-day coma in a hospital. And I relied on that, and I relied on alcohol to kind of numb how I was feeling, and I dealt with everything in a very unhealthy way. And it was only through A, talking about it more, and B, finding an outlet, a healthy outlet, mine being CrossFit, clearly CrossFit, to find that outlet that changes your life. And I hope that all of you can find whatever that may be. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I know it was a little bit lengthy, but as it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, I do think it's important, and it's not something that gets spoken about enough, because it is a little awkward, it is uncomfortable. Even myself, I've been talking about it 9 years now, and it's still, I never really know how I want to say things, or should say things, or how things are going to come across. So yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy your day.